UK's bold crackdown on the Iranian regime's secret agents. In a decisive move to clamp I misspoke. Rewind. In a decisive move to clamp down on foreign influence, particularly from Iran, the UK has tightened its regulations with the enforcement of the Foreign Influence Registration Scheme, or FIRS for short. This stringent framework requires individuals and entities acting under foreign directives, particularly those associated with Iranian intelligence agencies like the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, and the Ministry of Intelligence, or like MWAS for short, to either register their activities or face up to 5 years in prison. This scheme is especially concerned with the rise with the murky realm of criminal proxies and gangs that Iran employs to conduct espionage and exert influence covertly within the United Kingdom. Addressing this complex challenge, the UK Security Minister Dan Jarvis highlighted, quote, Iran doesn't act directly but uses criminal proxies to do their bidding, helping to obfuscate their involvement while they sit safely ensconced in Tehran. This policy forms a crucial part of the UK's broader strategy to expose and mitigate the sophisticated threats of foreign espionage and influence operations, aiming to bring transparency to political influences and safeguard the nation against the destabilizing activities orchestrated abroad. Okay, so there's a lot to get into here. And one of the first thing that's important to understand is kind of what FERS is and what it is not. So, as an American, I am more familiar with our Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA for short. And that's basically it's requiring like individuals and entities that act as agents for foreign principals to be registered and disclose their relationship as a representative of a foreign power. Like they have to disclose it and do reports and activity logs and all this stuff and be transparent with the United States government about what they're doing and who they're meeting with and who they're influencing, etc. Um, and I really like FARA. Uh, FARA is in America is purposefully designed to have like really broad applicability. Um, Now in the UK, their first system is kind of similar, but it's much more specific. So basically, it's regarding you have to it mandates a registration for those who are lobbying politicians, like more specifically, and or engaging in other influencing campaigns on behalf of other governments or political organizations and entities. And basically, it's supposed to provide insight to the British government and to the British public about who is influencing their politics, who is influencing their decision making processes, etc. But it's more it's a tighter scope. The FERS is focused more narrowly on direct interaction with the UK government and decision makers versus in America, it's public relations, political consulting, lobbying, etc. It's very wide. And so basically, they have decided, and I don't know, maybe I'm too American brained, but to me, I thought it was insane that this wasn't already the case. Um, why were they not already treating Iran this way? And then I'm like, am I too American brained that I don't assume that like everyone has as antagonistic a relationship as we do? I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's like such a obvious and imminent and present danger that I'm like, why were you not already on the highest security tier? I don't know. So basically, there are different levels of this system, right? And Iran is the Islamic Republic, I should say, is going to be moved to the highest tier of this system to help crack down on their influence operations in the UK. And in a statement to the parliament, what's the title of this guy? This MP who was in charge of this said that the director of MI5 stated that since the start of 2022, the UK has responded to 20 Islamic Republic backed plots presenting potentially lethal threat to British citizens and residents. So basically, we have seen a giant spike since 2022 an active assassination plots in the UK in British soil, upwards of 20. And so they're seeing this huge plot, this huge
Jesus.
spike, and basically they are being very honest about the fact that this is a conscious strategy of the Iranian regime to target and silence dissidents. And not only that, it is a clear and present danger to any Jewish and Israeli citizens or residents in the United Kingdom because the random targeting of Jews and Israelis by the Islamic Republic is a well known and well documented strategy of the Iranian regime because they're so freaking weak. They can't do anything to actually touch Israel. So the best thing that they can do is go target random Jews and random other Israeli citizens just living outside of Israel's borders. That's the best that they can do. And the UK government is basically saying that we know that this threat exists and we know that they have a lot of different tactics to do this. But and we need to be upping our security clearances. Not security clearances. What's the like our what's the right way to put this? Like we need to be increasing our perception of this threat. We need to be bringing out some of our strongest tools of government to better address this threat. And so basically they're bringing it up to the highest level, and then they're also looking at how can we utilize counterterrorism laws that are currently on the books to help prosecute the people who are engaged in the tactics of the Islamic Republic. So, to help people understand this better, the Islamic Republic has, to quote this one report I was reading about their influence strategies, when it comes to how the Iranian regime likes to assassinate people, this one report I was reading described it as a low level of professionalism. So basically, the when trying to conduct assassinations in, say, America, they have pretty low levels of operational security. It's a very hostile environment for them to try to do their own operations. So what they do is they go hire other criminal gangs to go carry out their dirty work for them. So in America and Canada, they hire Hell's Angels to try to conduct assassinations for them. They hire a lot of like Chechen, kind of East European, Azerbaijani gangs to go do hits on people. In Sweden, they hire all these different gangs. I think maybe some Kurdish gangs in Sweden, and so basically they outsource their assassination attempts to these criminal gangs. And so the UK is saying, okay, we know that they use this tactic because there was uh, this Chechen-born Austrian national dude that tried to do an assassination attempt on a journalist from Iran International, and they caught him. Um, so how can we basically adjust our current counterterrorism laws to appropriately go after this specific tactic of the Islamic Republic? Um, and so all in all, this is a good step. You know, there I was reading different opinions and commentary about this measure that the UK is taking, and some Iranian scholars living in the UK are like, this is good, but we we don't know if it's gonna be enough because the UK already has a lot of laws on the books, but the law enforcement doesn't know them, they're not being enforced. Like, it's good to have this heightened scrutiny. It's kind of, again, crazy to me as an American that it wasn't there before. I mean, but the UK hasn't even listed the IRGC as a terrorist organization. So, but they're saying, but having the extra scrutiny is nice, but we need application, we need enforcement, and I don't fully know if that's gonna be there. Um, So, I have more that I wanna say, but Armin, I saw that you found a video.
Yeah, first of all, these are declarations of war, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys disagree with me or not. And they
No,
have
I'm
been
on
going
board.
on for the past 40 years. And the fact that Europe as a whole hasn't taken a much more aggressive stance against the Islamic Republic, this is an actual. So, you know how sometimes, like, oh, we shouldn't exaggerate. This is not invasion. This is not. This is violent operations by a state of another country within your borders, right? So, you know how sometimes people say don't exaggerate, this is hyperbolic. This is not hyperbolic. This is the regime in Iran hiring people to take out sometimes citizens, often citizens of European countries within their borders. And in response, European countries still have diplomatic relationships with the government of a country that has been proven to have been doing this for the past 40 years, more than 40 years. And I don't understand how this is not a bigger deal than it is right now. Like, oh, let's investigate this. Like, I mean, you guys still have embassies in each other's borders. You guys still do, appeasement, negotiations, trade. What the fuck? Like, how is this not escalating to a
It's so
much,
weird to
much,
me that
much
there's
higher
an
level?
embassy for the Islamic Republic in England. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, recently, I don't know if you guys know this
Yes, I wanted to
this
talk
guy.
about this. Thank you.
I'm
Sorry.
not. So yeah, no, that's go ahead. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but this video just came out from Iran. This guy, Rafiq, which is one of the first IRGC members. This is one of the main founders of IRGC, and a video came of him within Iran from his office. Somebody did an interview with him, and this was a major shock. And know a lot of you are going to say that why is this a shock? We already know this. But this is a major shock because this is the first official admission by the regime officials, as such high ranking regime officials, coming out and transparently uh, admitting that they have been, that not only he himself has been involved in terror operations and terrorist and bombing, killing people, and also in Europe, and they
Armin, I think you
also.
need to, like, back up a little bit. Like, just say frankly what he said.
Okay, so I'm not gonna go through the details. If you guys want, I could do a show on it. But he basically mentioned back in the day, like back in the early years of the Islamic Republic, how they carried out assassinations of very famous people, um, of, of Iranian dissidents outside Iran's borders in Europe. And he was also transparent about how like they actually had official meetings with German and French officials telling them that they're doing this and they need to back the fuck down. Like it wasn't like secret. They weren't doing this secretly. They were doing it while communicating to the European officials that they're doing it, and threaten to do some more if they don't release this and that and did and that. And also claiming here in this video that the French and German officials backed down, like they were afraid. Like not like, so example, the German officials, not only did they not retaliate, they were so scared of these terrorists that they released the person that they wanted them to release. Like they actually folded, like they actually submitted to their demands. And he goes over so many details. Like he himself apparently was pretending to be a beggar at some point around right at the door of the person that they wanted to assassinate, to be able to carry out their assassinations. And also
What?
he's
What?
yeah,
Wait,
he
I didn't
himself
know
was,
that.
he no, he himself was involved in some of them, and he brags about them. And he actually killed one of somebody very, very important. Like, they were involved. He goes over the important operations that they were involved with, killing people in Europe and shit like that. And guys, you have no idea how high of an official this is when it comes to the IRGC. He's like one of the he a lot of people consider him the first IRGC. That's how big of a deal he is, right? And he comes out and he says all of this, and this is a big revelation in Iranian social media. People are like, "Oh my god, they are actually admitting this, all of this." And this video that came out is so problematic for the Islamic Republic, and people don't understand why. There's so many theories for why he's saying the quiet part out loud. And actually, right after it, the regime was so nervous about this video getting out that they came out and made his own office put out an official statement saying that, oh, all of this is nonsense. He just recently had a brain surgery, this man, and that's why he's just basically saying crazy talk. This is all crazy talk, right? So they came out, I think the very day after, put out an official statement that don't take any of this seriously. He just had a brain surgery. That's why he's saying all of this, which is interesting because a lot of people then came out and pointed out that, I mean, he doesn't sound like a crazy person. He's pointing to the dates very accurately. He's describing the politics of Europe in a very accurate way, the dates very accurately. He has a lot of verifiable information that he's talking about them on a very high level. Like, how is he so competent and aware about so much details, and is talking about all of these politics in such a high level, but only so, like, he seems like a very aware person. Like, he doesn't sound like a crazy person. Only the parts that he's admitting, so the parts that he's mentioning the date so accurately, mentioning verifiable facts so accurately, all of those parts, he's not crazy. But only the parts that he's describing the operations that they were involved with, those are the only crazy parts. Like, a lot of people are not buying the whole brain surgery
Yeah, okay.
excuse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does it with such, like, clarity and so casually. Like, this does not sound like the ramblings of a brain damaged man. So, I mean, what is the fallout that you've seen from this within the community so far? Again, I think it's
Oh, it's
insane
just,
that I feel like there's not gonna be fallout from European officials, but
I've seen this being shared everywhere on Iranian social media, and the regime seems to be very nervous about it. But unfortunately, this is not being covered on Europeans like media. Like, I'm not seeing it being covered by European media. Like, we have one of the highest IRGC members coming out and saying the operations of the regime carried out on European soil, terrorist activities by a state. Like, this is not terrorist activities by a militia group, okay? This is not Hezbollah. This is not Hamas. This is terrorist activities by a fucking state, an officially recognized state by the United Nations, has carried out terrorist activities on European soil. And now we have a full-on admission by a high-ranking IRGC member, and Europe is like, what the fuck, like, huh?
and
Like,
also and
why?
also
Why?
the
Where's the?
claim that the European authorities capitulated.
Yes, yes, yeah. Like, he says that they were so afraid of us. He said, like, at one point he said, like, if you don't release our guy, okay, we're going to fucking blow up that place. He directly threatens the European leaders, and they release that guy. That's what he says. They were so afraid. A lot of the appeasements by Europe now make sense based on this video that came out. Apparently, they didn't know how to handle this. They just, like, gave the Islamic Republic the things they wanted because
It's pretty
they
mind
were
blowing to me. I have to
right.
be honest. I can't really comprehend it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what you get when you have a lot of oil and gas, and Europe doesn't have oil and gas. So I guess that's why they were bullying. Guys, European citizens, okay? The Islamic Republic was bullying your leaders around because they thought they could, because they thought that Europe was basically addicted to oil and gas all the time. so they could just get away with it, right? This was their philosophy, and it continues to this very day. Like only recently they attacked Iran international reporters. They knifed somebody in Europe, in UK, in the
Yeah,
UK.
Korea. Yeah,
Yeah, Puria.
yeah.
So this has
Well,
been
no,
going on
so
for the past. Huh.
yeah, Mazdak here saying these things happened at the revolution era. It's old news. Leave it. One,
No, it's happening
that's
right
still
now.
incredibly important and incredibly relevant because many of those people who were assassinated during that era were so influential, and they're still so missed. What happened to them, what happened in Vienna, what happened in Germany, is so consequential. It doesn't matter that it happened like in the 80s. Like it's so consequential. Those people deserve justice. Those figures are still missed and considered and like thought about today about how what a light they would be to the community if they were here today. A lot of them, you know? So one, that's still consequential even if it happened back in the 80s. Two, it isn't just happening in the revolution era, it's happening now. We know that it's happening now. The people that tried to kill Masih Alinejad are literally testifying in court this past week. Okay. Like I was saying with the report in the UK, there's been an uptick of at least 20 known attempts on people's lives and 20 known plots in the UK alone since 2022. Those are just the ones that the UK managed to stop. There were also some that almost still happen. And again, that's just the UK. Are we forgetting about the fact that a few years ago, a literal diplomat of the Islamic Republic tried to blow up a conference of MEK members in the middle of Belgium? And then when he failed to do so, they literally tried to use his diplomatic immunity to excuse him from prosecution of literally trying to blow up a building. That sounds so crazy to say. It's true. If you guys don't know, they literally tried to use diplomatic immunity to get a guy out of literally doing a full blowing up a building terrorist attack. Um in the center of Europe. So, it's not old news. It's that's wild to me. Yes, that yeah, I know. I'm gonna cry. The idea that what happened to Fereydoun is like old news is heartbreaking to me. Okay, Armin, please explain who this is and why it's important. You're muted.
Yes, yes. No, Fereydoun Farrokhzad was the one of the people who was killed by the Islamic Republic in Germany. And by the way, there's a lot of mysteries about how he was killed. But a lot of people knew it was Islamic Republic, and they didn't have any hard proof that it was the Islamic Republic, even though everybody knew. And he came out and admitted. Now we have hard proof. He admitted that it was them that
Specifically for
killed.
Fereydoun, he named Fereydoun?
Yeah, yeah,
Shut
he
up.
admitted that.
Shut up.
No, 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 he did that. He did admit. So now we have the hard proof. So this man was a
Holy
hero,
crap.
to the Iranian people, and
Yeah.
from the very beginning he was standing up against the Islamic Republic, and they killed him in Germany in 1992. They stabbed him and beheaded him in his apartment in Germany, and they also they heated the apartment so that his body burned, so there's no evidence for, like, it was a brutal. And this man was a singer and an activist, and he was so loved by the Iranian people, and he was so brave. His song was so much about taking, was very patriotic, very much about getting Iran back from the mullahs, and he constantly encouraged Iranians to fight back and save the regime from the mullahs. And he was so inspiring. Like, if I wish I had some of his videos ready right now. to show you how much full of energy and hope he was for the future of Iran, and how much he was ready to die. Like in one of his last
He
events
knew
that
it.
he
He
had,
knew it.
he he knew it. He opened up his coat and he said, like, if you want to shoot me, do it right now, in front of all these people, just kill me. And yeah, and he was, a lot of Iranians really adored and loved this person, and he was killed in the most gruesome, like, if I go over the details of how he was killed, most gruesome, disgusting ways that he was killed in his apartment in Germany. And also the German government was, a lot of Iranians think that the German government was complicit, and they knew that it was the Islamic Republic. And there's a lot of evidence that the German officials tried to hide the evidence and stop the investigations to show that this was the Islamic Republic, out of the fear of what will happen. And that's why a lot of Iranians hated the German government for covering the death, covering the murder, um, stopping the investigation, covering the murder of Fereydoun. And now, by the way, the video, all of these suspicions about the German government being like complicit or appeasing or basically backing down, based on this video that just came out, it was confirmed that all of those suspicions were actually true. So
Holy cow. So this like video is like 10 times more earth-shattering than I even realized.
yeah, I
Holy
wish I
crap.
had a video. I wish I had a
Yeah, by the
video
way,
of
he's an
this.
amazing singer. If people need to look up his music. I'm like
Yeah, I
super
don't know.
into pre-revolution Iranian music. I mean, he's an icon.
Yeah,
Armin makes fun of me
maybe
because
I
he's
could.
like, "You listen to the music my parents would listen to. What the hell?"
No, Fereydoun Farrokhzad, I love his music too. It's very
Yeah.
inspiring. So I get
Okay,
it.
Mazdak is
I
saying, "May
get it.
God bless him soul." I was not talking about him. If he talked about Fereydoun, I apologize. Yeah, 'cause
Yes, no, he did. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
yeah.
That's very sweet to say. Let me see if I can show you something of him very quick. I don't know. Maybe I'll just show. I would, because I wanted to show you one of his speeches. So inspiring, so desperate to try. Nope, not this one. Oh, by the way, a lot of anti pro regime people were constantly like trying to expose him as gay,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it's true or not, and I don't really care. But that's one thing that a lot of people were trying to, as a way to, because Iranian people really, really loved him, and as a way to try to
Defame
attack
him.
him, uh, defame him, they kind of, let me see if I could show you this.
But
Yeah, I don't have one
nowadays,
of his
there's
speeches.
like such a there's people are so much less homophobic. So I've even seen people
Yeah,
come out and be like, "You can't use if he was gay, like that doesn't make us hate him anymore."
yeah, yeah, but exactly, like that doesn't work anymore. I don't know if these are copyrighted because it's music. I was looking. Oh wait, can I show you this? Let me see.
Wait, I'm so happy this turned into watching old Iranian music videos because this is what I do in my free time. I go deep.
Okay, wait. Let me show. Let me show. Wait. First of all, the reason before this is back when he was in Iran, when he was a celebrity, right? But like you can see, that's him on the left. Okay, actually, let me turn this off because I don't want to get a copyright strike, right? But that's him on the left back when Iran was still a monarchy before the Islamic Revolution. You can see this is the reason why he was famous before he became a revolutionary against the Islamic Republic. He was just a celebrity during Shah's time, right? But then after the Islamic Revolution, he turned into a revolutionary.
اوباش اسلامی با کمک کمونیست ها
So he's saying the Islamic thugs, with the help of the communists.
قبل از هر چیزی گارد شهربانی ایران رو قتل عام کردند افسران شهربانی رو قتل عام کردند
He's saying that the proud, like, soldiers, the people, their high-ranking, important, like, patriotic officers of Iran, of Shah's army. Like, before they killed anybody, when the revolution was successful, the Islamic Revolution took over. He said that the communists and the Islamists, the first people that they killed were our patriotic officers of the of the Artesh, of the army of the king.
افسران ارتش شاهنشاهی رو کشتند و بقیه
Yeah, the high officers of the monarchy, the army of the monarchy.
که زنده به دست اونا افتادند مثل نادر جهانبانی، مثل مهدی رحیمی، مثل خسروداد.
So he's mentioning the name of the officers of the Shah that the Islamic Republic took into arrested.
مثل بیگلری، مثل بدرهی که باید به افتخارشون دست بزنید و یادشون رو گرامی بدارید. اونها رو قتل عام کردن.
So he's naming all the patriotic soldiers of the king's army that the communists and the Islamists killed.
به یاد تمام افسران ارتش
And he's just mentioning their name because he wants to remember them. He was very big into remembering the heroes, the big names that were killed by the Islamic Republic.
شاهنشاهی به خاطر خلبانانی که امشب از سن‌حوزه آمدند و اینجا هستند، به خاطر افسرانی که در تمام دنیا در بدر هستند ولی شرف افسریشون رو فراموش نکردند، ایستادند، جان دادند و گفتند به خاطر محمد رضا شاه پهلوی می‌ایستیم و می‌میریم.
He says, like, and there are still all these other officers and military personnel of the former government that they still are here today, that they say that we will stand for Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, for the Pahlavi. We will stand strong and we will die for them.
به خاطر اون افسران و به نام سپهبد مهدی رحیمی مرد مردان میخوانم.
Anyways, I just want to see the energy and the passion. I cannot replicate that. I cannot, like, really communicate how his speeches, like, every time you listen to his speeches, you could just watch the hair on your body rise. Like, you could just feel he was just so full of passion, so patriotic, and so full of energy. And he died until his very last breath to save the country and to take it back from the Islamists and the communists, right? He's very big into remembering the names of the people who died fighting the mullahs. And he also made a lot of Iranians really ignited their nationalist and their patriotic spirit. Like, to this day, the most patriotic Iranians, when they want to get inspired to continue to fight, they just listen to his speeches. And yeah, and they kill, and the reason why they killed him is because he was so important. Like, the Islamic Republic was really threatened by him, and that's why they went for him.
Yeah. Did you know, it was funny, when I was in San Francisco, I actually remember walking around the Castro district and they have like these memorials in the sidewalk to all these different figures, and they have a memorial to Fereydoun in the middle of the sidewalk there. It was so interesting. I just stumbled upon it one day. Can you say, yeah, reviewing the old Persian music. It's a nice change of pace from all the typical news horror.
Yeah. Oh, and also Nike is saying, Armin, he's dead, but was he a monarchist? Yes, very much so a monarchist. He was a monarchist because a lot of guys, so in Iran, we have two camps of people, the Republicans and the monarchists, right? I myself, I'm a Republican, but I understand so many of the points that the monarchists make, okay? The Republican brand, unfortunately, in Iran, is the brand that the communists and the leftists and the separatists constantly use to gain political momentum, especially as the correct opposition against the Islamic Republic. And these are the people who actually handed over the country to the mullahs to begin with. So the defense of the monarchist brand is not necessarily for the sake of monarchy itself all the time. I mean, some people just like monarchy, but the monarchy brand is also from a utilitarian perspective, from a pragmatic perspective, it's just a filtering of everything that destroyed Iran. You know, like it's not about what form of
That's a
government
good way to
actually
put it.
works. Yes, yes, because first of all, the Iranian people, the ones who want a monarchy, they don't want an absolute monarchy. They want a constitutional monarchy in the same way that we have in Norway and Sweden, like that, right? With the king having only ceremonial powers, right? And the actual governing is happening by the prime minister. That's the type of monarchy that they want. But the monarchy brand will just basically make sure that the mullahs, the separatists, the communists and woke leftists, right, and also especially also the reformists don't get into your opposition, because this is all of these are and also the MEK, especially the MEK, so that also the MEK, all of the people that I mentioned, the separatists, the communists, the woke leftists, and the MEK, they are so allergic to anything monarchy related that by having the monarchy brand, you're just making sure that none of them make it in. So it's an automatic filtering of these people out, because these are the people that gave the country to the mullahs to begin with, and we don't want to repeat that. So I myself, as a Republican who's not a monarchist, understand that. I understand that point of view, and I defend it actually. Okay, Susie left. I think she went for a washroom break. Let me see if you guys have any questions about this. Oh, also, guys, don't forget that if you can support us with super chats, that would be nice, and we will be reading it between news items. Okay,
I'm back.
so saying the oh yeah, so let me just read this thing. The leftists, they are cursed people, abominations. They gave Iran to the mullahs. Yeah, so when we say leftists, just please be let's be clear, okay? We're not talking about everyone on the left. We're talking specifically about communists and woke people. We're not talking about liberal people on the left. The term leftist is not used for liberal people on the left. Okay, just but let's, for example, Mohammad Reza Shah himself had some left-leaning views himself as well. So let's just be clear,
A lot
right?
of socialists look at some of his policies and they're like, wow, this is pretty based.
Yeah. So let's just, like, we're not talking about everybody on the left, okay? We're talking about a specific type of people on the left, especially communists and woke people, and
Postmodernists.
also people postmodernists, and also
Michel
anybody who
Foucault
believes in any.
loved the Islamic Republic.
Yes, exactly. He loved Khomeini as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I swear,
Okay.
low key, so many of the problems that we have in the West nowadays, we can blame on the French.
Yes. There's a very, by the way, for people who don't know, there's a very, 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 very deep rooted hatred for leftists among many Iranians, right? Because they think that they were the ones who sold the country to the mullahs. And so that's why if they want to be the opposition against the Islamic Republic, a lot of Iranians are not buying it. They're like, "Fuck you! It was you who started this whole shit to begin with." And I'm not exaggerating when I say that sometimes I notice that the hatred for leftists actually sometimes surpasses the hatred for the mullahs themselves. Because
Facts, honestly.
yes, yeah. Because a lot of Iranians think that the mullahs were too incompetent to be able to do such a thing for themselves. The violence came from the Islamists, but the political organization and know-how to be able to conduct the operations for the Islamic Revolution of 1979, that came from the leftists. And eventually, the Islamists turned on the leftists and started killing them, massacring them as well. But and this seems to be what keeps happening. Like the leftists and Islamists, they unite. The violence will come from from the Islamists. The political organization comes from the leftists, and then they succeed. And then the Islamists, once they have that, the leftists cannot do the violence themselves, and the violence is actually the currency of political power. So they don't need them anymore once the revolution is successful. At the very last, at the end of it, the Islamists will turn on the leftists and start massacring. And this is interesting because we have seen this happen time and time again. I mean, this basically happened in Afghanistan as well. But again, it's interesting that the leftists don't learn from that lesson. They just notice that the Islamists are against the world liberal order, against the world powers, and they are against that as well. So they unite them, and they don't look at what happened to leftists before when they united with Islamists, and they just keep repeating the same thing over and over again, which is interesting.
Which is why a lot of Iranians are having like PTSD, deja vu when it comes to the student protests and encampments for Palestine right now.
Right.
But
yeah, exactly.
Carmen,
And also, guys, yeah, just one more thing, and then I'll move on. Okay, you guys noticed the video that I showed you, the level of disgust that Fereydoun was talking about the leftists and the unity behind Islamists and the communists, right? That video is a lot older than when you Westerners were introduced to this idea. Like the whole, like, for you guys, like, all of this happened after 9/11. You notice so many people on the left defending Islam and Islamists, okay? But that video that I showed you comes from a decade before that, right? So you can see that we have a history with this. Like the conversation of like, oh, the woke is now supporting Islam even though they're anti-Christian. This is a much newer conversation in Western countries, but we Iranians have been dealing with this decades before it actually became a thing in United States and Canada and Europe. So there you go. Yeah, so I know we need to move on. Sorry, Susie.
No, let's do the getting back to our original story of the UK. Let's go to the social media.
Oh, yes. Okay. By the way, your audio was getting a little bit weird, but it's fine now.
Wait, let me
fine.
check.
Okay.
Or
No, it was
how about now?
Like, now it's fine. Guys, was it just me or was it like that for you as well? Susie's audio, but now it's fine. All right.
Yeah, so there's like, oh, finally some good news. If you're like working for the regime in Iran, you have to register or face prison, which seems like such a weird thing to not have already. But well, we'll take it. Next one.
Okay. Oh, this is just the news.
This is like the full statement that was given by Dan Jarvis to the parliament. It was like really long, so I didn't want to cover it, but I read it in full. Scroll down. And then this person is saying, great to see a packed house. They really do take security seriously. So, like, making a sarcastic statement about how empty the parliament is.
Right. Oh, Emily.
Yeah. Emily Shader is saying, at least 20 Islamic regime-backed plots to kidnap or kill Brits or individuals based in the UK were thwarted in the past 3 years alone, yet the UK has balked in every step to hold the Islamic Republic accountable. Today, a small step forward was made, but it does fall short. Yeah, I'll take it. And then some anti-Semite is replying to Emily going, it's minimal compared to the Jewish subversion of Western politics. Sit down, Jew. Okay, psycho.
Wow. Okay.
Ay. Anti-Semitism, I just immediately think is just like, okay, so you're just exposing yourself as having low IQ. Thank you. This person is saying, have you tried flooding the entire UK with hostile Iranian assets with no documentation and then putting them in hotels all around the UK? Oh, you have?
Okay. I don't know about that. Okay. That was funny. Oh, we got 2 super chats.
Yes, we did. Okay, so And then Idris is saying, on behalf of the French, proud to have given Voltaire, less so Rousseau, and not at all for postmodernists. Let me be clear. I'm just giving a
Right.
little. I'm joking towards our French. You know, it's all
Yes.
love. I'm making a joke. Um, but the
Right.
postmodernists really did fuck us all over.
Yes, but thank you for Voltaire. That was a
Yes, yes,
huge
yes.
contribution to the whole
Yeah.
world. Thank you for that.
Um, Gajan is saying, why do so many leftists support the mullahs? Uh, Armin kind of answered this a little bit already. Sometimes it's for pragmatic reasons. Sometimes it's for kind of like ends justify the means reasons. Depending on what historical context you're looking at, it could be to the advantage of the USSR. Um, but generally, there's an alignment in terms of being opposed to the liberal world order and wanting to upend it.
Right.
So it's a marriage of
Yeah.
convenience. That's the
Yeah.
most
I mean, the
simplest way I can put it.
short answer is their shared hatred for liberalism and their shared goal in dismantling the world order. The only difference is that the Islamists would want to bring a caliphate or an imamate after they destroy the world order, and the leftists they want to bring a utopian communists. You know, that's what
Mhm.
they want. Unless they're
Um,
anarchists, unless they're anarcho communists, then they want nothing. They want just absolute anarchy.
Gajin, thank you for the other super chat saying, are leftists all cops are bastards unless it's morality police? No, leftists love morality police. You want to know why I know this? Because I was one, and there are the most psychotic internal moral policing of their own community you will ever see. They are obsessed with the moralized policing of others. I mean, we see this in
Mm.
communist regimes all the time. Why do you think we see purges? That's what it is. It's morality policing. They want to expend from existence the human quality of greed, for example, which is inherent to us, self-interest, which is inherent to us. They want to dispense it from existence. They're obsessed with morality policing each other, and to a certain extent, that's why in many contexts they are so politically ineffective, because they always eat themselves, because they're always in a purge binge cycle of purity purging. It because they are obsessed with the puritanism. They're constantly doing witch hunts. That's why a leader will be elevated and then they'll be torn down, because they will always find a fault within that person. They're obsessed with purity. um yeah.
Right.
They're the most like, you want to talk about like policing, they're the most obsessed with policing, just in their own way. When I don't
Mm.
know, once you notice it, you can't not see it.
Right. That's a good point. You should do a whole show explaining your experiences when you were Antifa, part of Antifa. I
Yeah.
think that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just also want to quickly respond to. I know Sarah is not serious, but I just want to respond to this because Sarah was saying this channel is an anti-French a safe space. So okay, so Susie was joking, and so is Sarah. But just to make sure that nobody is misunderstanding us, we love France for many, many, many reasons. One of the most important ones being laïcité. One of the most important ones, especially today, is not backing down against um Islamists attempt to
Separatism.
uh, yes, to stifle free speech, freedom of expression. Among all European countries, France is the country that refuses to back down against Islamists on this matter. I mean, we love France for Charlie Hebdo, right? So we don't forget these things. Okay, so
Oh, in
just
fact,
I just want to appreciate. Yes.
I forgot to put this up today.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. There's a go. We love France for that. That's exactly. I mean,
Wait.
France could do more, but we appreciate everything that it has done so far.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.